Hi, how you doing? I'm Sharon. I garden on a large yard in a small town in east central Saskatchewan, Zone 3. This is my Sask Garden, where I hope to bring you tips and tricks and information all specific to cold zone gardening. Today I want to dig up, divide, and replant some Asiatic lilies. Today is October 18th. We've had a few light frosts and there's snow in the forecast for next week. Fall is the best time to move and divide and transplant Asiatic lilies. You can do it anytime in the growing season, but if you were to do it while they were growing, you'd have to take care not to break the stem off the lily bulb and to take as much soil as possible. At this time of year, you can dig them up, you can remove the soil from the bulb, you can divide the bulbs with no issue, and then replant them. You can pretty much replant them until the ground is starting to freeze. I have gone through a bit of frost to plant lily bulbs and not had any problem at all. I think I've mentioned before that the lily bulb isn't necessarily right underneath the stem. I've had that happen to me before where I've dug up thinking that it was right there and then I landed up damaging the lily bulb. So just start out a few inches away and go in nice and deep. I'm going to go in again here. No, I think I hit one. There we go. These have been in the ground for some time and they become crowded. The bulbs could be bigger for sure. All of these small bulbs, if they were given more, divided up and given more room to grow, they would get bigger and they in turn would begin to multiply. I think I probably would have started with maybe 3 or 5 bulbs here because I do like to plant in groups. So it wasn't just one bulb that multiplied to that degree. I've got my 2 clumps dug up and there's lots of little ones in there. And so I'm going to pick out the 5 biggest ones and replant those. I mentioned that they need to be planted in full sun. They should be planted 8 to 12 inches apart and about 6 inches deep. So when the lily comes up with the stem, that'll just come off. Well, all the others came off. There you go. And it's got that little bit there that actually, that's where it was growing from, was inside the lily bulb right there. So it's got just a little hollow section right in the center. And that's planted pointing up, of course, with the roots down. If you're just buying lily bulbs, you may not have roots. And so it's like the flatter side goes down and that whole section goes up. These are all pretty tiny. They would grow on. If you had room to plant them, they certainly would grow on. I have a lot of lilies and I don't really have the room. I don't know if these small ones would make more than just a stem. And that's how you know if your lilies are getting a little overcrowded, is that just like tulips are the same. They just start pushing up stems are green and and no flowers. So this area gets full sun pretty much all day, maybe not in the morning because there's another big tree here. But I have other lilies that grow here. The full sun perennials grow well here, with the exception of the rose marvel sage, which died here. It really never did do well to begin with, and I moved it a couple times trying to find its sweet spot, and it never did. So anyways, this is where I'm going to plant those white lily bulbs. It's pretty dry and packed in here, I know it is. That is the nature of this soil in here. So I've got the soil loosened. It's really dry, and it's got a lot of clay in this section, so it came up as big lumps, and it takes a little bit of work to break it apart. It's also really dry, and I'm hoping that, you know, the snow and rain that we're supposed to get next week is going to give us a little bit of moisture. So, as I said, lilies should be about 6 inches deep. I'm just going to do it that way. And I don't know if they'll be 8 inches apart. I'm sure they'll survive. If they land up on their side a little bit, that's okay. Now, I wonder if I can get one in the middle. That should do the trick. So I'm just not going to put the mulch back on because I want to give it a watering, and then when I'm done I'll cover it with I'll use flax straw for mulch. You'll notice that I'm not adding any fertilizer or anything to the soil. I usually don't. You could add bone meal if you want at this time. The best time to fertilize lilies is just when they're budding or right after they bloom. And right after they bloom is when they're putting down new roots. So that's a good time. And you can just use a straight 20-20-20 at that time. Same with when they're budding. So I'm just going, this soil was not near as dry. It's actually quite nice. So I'm just going to do basically the same thing. Then we should have 2 nice clumps of white lilies here next year. That's it. The lilies are dug up, divided, and transplanted. They should do well, I think. I usually don't have any trouble with lilies. Digging up, dividing, and replanting lilies is probably my least favorite job. I actually don't like digging up and dividing too many things, but lilies are probably the one that I dislike the most. But I just would like them to grow and be that perfect size year after year, but that's not the case with bulbs and perennials, so it is what it is. Thanks very much for joining me today. I do appreciate it. If you found it enjoyable, helpful, informative in some way, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thanks again. See you.